All right, hi. I would like to start today with a little exercise, kind of a stand-up activity. Would you mind standing, please, up? And I would like you to ask the typical three questions we know in Agile world. The first one would be, please raise your hands, who has been a Scrum Master in the past or still is? All right. Second thing, who plans to be such in the future? All right, thank you. And the last thing, who has problems being a Scrum Master or with the Scrum Master? Please note. Okay, some. Thank you, you can be seated. All right, what is the Scrum Master? Interesting topic, probably, to many. Let's go step by step, and first thing, I think we all know Scrum, and Scrum Master, first of all, is one of the key roles in the Scrum framework. Without going into particular details, this is what it is, and we all know it so. But we all also know that Agile is not only Scrum, right? It's many other methods, and when I was preparing for this, I was kind of interested in understanding what are other masters in other methods there. And I did some research, and I found out this table actually I created based on one interesting article, and I put in bold those methods which have something like a Scrum Master, and you can see it's 50-50, and basically we have Scrum with a Scrum Master, XP, Extreme Programming with Coach, we have DSDM with some kind of coach as well, and Kanban, kind of change agent, agile coach, and other kind of have either project manager or nobody, just development, just developers. But then I found out this interesting book, Coaching Agile Teams by Lisa Atkins, which I use in my own practice, and I really recommend it for you as well. And in that book, there was an interesting picture about an agile coach, and basically, it shows all these many different things the Agile coach does. He's a teacher, he's a problem solver, he's a facilitator, he's a collaboration conductor. So basically many different things. But the more important picture was this, when actually the Agile coach, that's the goal for the person. And as you can see, the three kind of past examples, that this is something that you want to achieve over your career, or if you're interested in doing these things. So it might be that you from project manager transit into coach, you can transit from a tech lead into a coach, or even develop as a good Scrum Master later on and become a coach. So probably we can say that these days this agile coaching thing is that something that spans across methods or across organizations, which deals with all the things usually we know under Scrum Master. But let's get back to the Scrum Master today, to the topic about Scrum Master. And when we go to the site scrumguides.org, that's the only place where the Scrum definition is located. It's usually been updated there. It's online since 2010, if I'm not mistaken. And basically, the Scrum Master is defined as somebody who makes sure that Scrum is understood, and that actually Scrum team follows the Scrum. So, sounds simple, isn't it? But somehow people have problems in organizations with this. But yeah, basically there is more in the Scrum definition about the Scrum Master, and try to visualize, and I found this nice three-headed dragon picture that illustrates what Scrum Master actually does. And why three heads? Because according to Scrum definition, Scrum Master works in those three directions simultaneously. He cares about product owner and the backlog in the first place. Make sure that product backlog exists. The product backlog is reflecting the business needs. It has priorities and so on. Of course, the most widely known is development team. That Scrum Master basically cares about the team. The team is a team, removes impediments, blockers for the team, facilitates team in different events and so on. And of course the organization, because there is always, you can improve as an organization. You can never be enough agile, because agility, at least in my understanding, that's a sort of a property. That's not that what we do, but that's a property. Are you agile or not? So, but the most interesting thing about the Scrum Master from Scrum definition, it's just one sentence there, is that Scrum Master acts as a servant leader. So who is that beast? We know managers, we know leaders. So who's a servant leader? And I, of course, did some research again. I like to research sometimes. And I found this book, and it was actually describing what a servant leader is in 1970 by Robert Greenleaf. And he basically defined a servant leader as a person who in the first place cares about well-being of other people and who tries to help develop people so that they perform as highly as possible. So, the first answer on today's topic's question is that it is somebody who likes serving others in the first place. Okay, let's move on. Of course, prior to this point, it was my research, my kind of interpretation probably, that might match yours, but I did some global research. I used LinkedIn Scrum Practitioners Group, and I asked the question to people, tell me what do you think is a Scrum Master on your own words. And I received about 30 replies from around 10 countries, mostly from US and from Europe, none from Baltics, by the way. And I would like to show you the most interesting responses I got. First one from New York. It was about what is not Scrum Master. It's not a team lead, it's not a communicator, and it's not a decision maker. From India, Scrum Master is somebody who creates a sense of trust and transparency in the team, who acts as a shield, and so on. From San Francisco, I got something like this. Scrum Master is a house. According to Karen, she is a Scrum Master. She said that team needs always to eat, to work, to relax. So all those are different rooms in the house. So what she thinks is important to make sure the house is there, that people can work at their best, so they don't have any issues with anything. Seattle. Timothy described all these properties of a Scrum Master, and I especially like the stand-up comedian. It's somebody who needs to be in a different roles all the time and kind of cheer up the team as well. So, from Denmark, this is my one of favorites. It's a monitoring and nudging team. From Boston again, from US, Scrum Master should have a sense of humor, because when you approach people with sense of humor, people feel relaxed and start telling the truth about the situation. They're more open. They get closer to the Scrum values, we can say as well. And as Dennis says, it's actually for him, it's easier to perform in front of large audience instead of facilitating a grooming session. Interesting opinion. And the last one, the biggest amount of text from Chicago, that basically Scrum Master is responsible for continuous improvement. And according to Tim, it's practical work, partly culture work, and involves coaching as well. So, what else I received? I knew this before myself, but there is Michael James, certified Scrum coach, who has created a practical checklist for Scrum Masters, which basically is a practical version of what we have in Scrum definition. And here I have brought some examples. When you work with a product owner, these are kind of the questions you would like to ask yourself. For instance, are all stakeholders' needs in the backlog? Is it manageable size, for example? There is a link, you can check the full checklist later if you wish. When you work with the team, I like these ones most of all. Does team members like each other, for example? Do they challenge each other? Do you have variations in retrospectives, for instance? But the most interesting for me was the organizational thing, that we don't work alone in a team. We always have a broader organization around us, and if there are impediments that block team, are you, as a Scrum Master, actually going to manager's room, as Ken Schwaber says, that Scrum Master is useless Scrum Master. So are you going and actually knocking the door and resolving the organizational impediments that block the team? Or the second question, is your organization actually recognized as one of the best places to work? Interesting question for the Scrum Master, isn't it? And the last thing, of course, engineering. It's not specifically addressed in Scrum framework because, as we know, Scrum framework doesn't specifically talk about engineering practices, but this checklist does, and these are just a couple of examples. Do you have automation? Do you pair? Do you refactor constantly? And so on. So these are all of the areas which Michael James, I think he's from US as well, proposes. This checklist was actually referred to some of the people I asked the question about Scrum Master. So basically summarizing this, my global research, so to say, we have reached the second answer of today's topics question. What do you think it could be? I found a picture which illustrates that this way. It's somebody who has these multiple hats all the time changing. Okay, but you might suspect that this is another answer coming today, and before giving this to you from my side, I would like to tell a little bit about my way to a Scrum Master before, because I think this is important to give some context. So this is a short version of my path from 2001. I was a team member, project coordinator, team lead. I wouldn't like to focus on this, but on the last 5 years maybe. And the most important thing I would like to emphasize now is that I wasn't hired as a Scrum Master. I emerged from an existing organization. And yeah, a little bit about organization. Opus Capita headquarters in Finland. We set new standard for financial processes, and basically we work in a business-to-business domain. So it's basically two business processes: purchase to pay and order to cash. We combine software outsourcing and services, and we are located in that many countries, and we 2,300 people serving 11,000 customers in 50 countries. So here's how it happened. Here's the story. In 2011, I started as a process guy, and my main task was to actually analyze and understand the development process of the services, and of course try to improve them. But what I soon realized is that the process itself, it's invisible. Since we are not located in one country, we are distributed, people and teams are scattered, and the tools problem also. Some teams use Excel, some use Jira, some use something else. But what's clearly was visible that this was not like flowing. The frustration and so on. The biggest headache was basically the backlogs. It was not really clear what is expected, what needs to be done. However, at the same time, we had this, and we have it now, the product lifecycle management process describing the whole life cycle of the products, how they appear and how they disappear from the market, so to say. And also there was Scrum inside that process. And I even participated in improving these processes and kind of making it better. We did trainings for people. We delivered process trainings. We talked about it a lot, but still it ended up as a siloed way of working anyway. It kind of didn't work out. And then in 2012, software development unit was established. There was a change in organization, and I became basically a process quality guy. And my main task was to make sure that these Scrum, which is as part of the bigger cycle, actually starts working in that software development unit. But Here is what I started to do. Actually, I did the wrong thing. That I understand now, I think. I was literally doing this. It illustrates it wasn't like exactly like that. I was approaching thing from the wrong place. I was, for instance, practical thing, what I did wrong. I tried to enable, for instance, check-in policies on the build server without even talking to people. And summarizing my being a quality guy, I would say that I was actually doing opposite to the Agile Manifesto. I was focusing more on the processes, not the people. At that point I didn't got that, now I understand that. And I was thinking, why did this happen like that? And probably the latest university studies impacted that, I don't know. I'm still looking for answers. It might be one of the reasons. But anyway. 2013 came, the year of big changes, and at that time I was part of a project where we were investigating Team Foundation server with Visual Studio, Scrum process templates, and Urban Turtle visual project management tool on top of TFS. This was kind of a trial to unite all the different tools we have. And actually I like those tools, how they work together and how you can see the Scrum inside those. And then this new project started. And I thought, okay, something new coming up, maybe better parenting this time. And since this was a new, I kind of managed to, hard to explain that, but it happened like that. I put together all this previous experience with product lifecycle, my knowledge about Scrum, all these tools study, the project itself, and then this happened like we used to say, aha moment, sometimes it happens to us. And I understood that we have everything in place. We have environment, we have people, we have tools, we have a goal for this project, for this product. What we're missing is actually somebody who's trying to get this together and make it work as Scrum proposes. And I literally saw that this is a match between what the Scrum Master could do this in this place instead of being a quality guy. And I decided to become one. So I took off the jacket and I decided to become a Scrum Master by myself. And so we started. The first thing we did, we put the backlog in a single place with web access to it. And then we started release 1. 3 teams in 3 countries, component based. I wasn't part of design of those teams, so only one Scrum Master at the point. We were doing Scrum, but not all events. Little frustration, too short cycle for somebody not used to work like that. We had poor grooming sessions, really. It was hard to actually get the user stories in a good shape, so reviews were just with product owner. Else. Huge amount of impediments because we were building also infrastructure at the same time. It was actually a platform project, not a regular product. But one of the good things was that I and the project manager, we attended the basic CSM course, and there I met the fantastic CST, which is Certified Scrum Trainer. So release 2 was better. We invited Agile Coach. Backlog improved, we restructured teams. 1.5 Scrum Masters, so to say, PM in transition. Now we try to follow all Scrum events by the book. I designed and delivered Scrum workshop for all the development. I used the rugby story about Scrum, and we played Scrum games and different roles, including management as well. Grooming started to appear better. The pipeline started to see daylight, automation, everything evolved. And this is where we started to emphasize on retrospectives that we learn from how we work and improve in the next iteration. Reviews started to expand. Some of the users started coming, see what's happening. We started analyzing impediments, why we have so many, how could we make them less, disturbing. And front end starts shining finally, which makes it, of course, easier to understand how to structure backlog in the future. Release 3 came down to 2 teams, still in 3 countries, almost independent teams, able to deliver business value. 1.9 Scrum Masters. Now we got more management support for Scrum, started to design UI mockups beforehand, like in a current sprint for the next. This is where I personally started to pay attention to monitoring the team, monitoring how people work, conflicts, how they try to solve problems, are they conflicting and hiding. I applied some coaching techniques I have learned, and we started to vary with retrospectives. We did it in different ways and also in different places. Reviews became better because now we got more and more users coming in and started to see what we're actually building. Yes, I paid attention to the team spirit, and we co-located. We came together to finish sprint and to start the next one. And it was beneficial. And at the end, I would like to say that we started to feel like we start flowing. So, this is the feedback we received from product management about what we're building. And this kind of feedback is very motivating. This is something that we don't get every week or every sprint. This is something that tells you that you are on the right way, and it makes you actually improve and move on. This is the portal root page. It looks simple, but I can assure under those menus there are lots of stuff. It's just the root page I'm showing. This is the visible part of what we're building. And I would like to give the third answer to today's topics question, which comes from my experience and from myself. And it's somebody who cares and doesn't give up. Because starting something new and trying to change ways of working, it's sometimes very hard. So, what I would like to advise to a Scrum Master or to somebody who would like to become one, first thing is that it's not a position, it's a mission. It's not something that requires a job description. You need to like this thing. You need to like serving others and making sure that people as a group succeed. If you don't like this, don't even try. Many have referred, and I must say I agree, that Scrum Master should be independent. It's not somebody coding 50% and 50% being a Scrum Master. Of course, organizations are different, but when we start new, when we build new teams, and those are especially distributed, I really think it's important to have a dedicated Scrum Master who is able to work and grow the team. It was specifically referred to that LinkedIn survey I did about what is a Scrum Master. People talked about this also. One more time, always remember that this is about everything, not about team only. It's about the business, it's about the organization, because there's always something you can improve. What I personally like is that I try to get the feedback from people I work with. It's anonymous. It just tells pluses of minuses how I behave and how I act. It's kind of my own review. I regularly get this, and this helps me improve myself. Find somebody who is smarter, cooler, more experienced than you and learn from him. Learn coaching, by the way. It might sound something not applicable to IT or technology, but it helps growing others, because if you remember, Scrum Master is a servant leader, and he should care about growing other people. So coaching techniques really help, at least for me. And yes, find somebody to mentor. Find somebody in your organization who would like to become a Scrum Master, or in my case, a project manager would like to become in the future. So mentor, talk, help, deliver information, talk about Agile Scrum. And of course, read as much as you can. Read books, articles. Very many things can be found online these days, and I really learn a lot from those. Well, since I have become a Scrum Master, this is not true anymore for me. Because I don't come to my work and I don't wait for Fridays anymore. So why is that so? Well, because I like helping others and I like growing people, so it's fun. It's hard, but it's fun. And what's most rewarding is that when you see others succeeding or improving over time without any metrics or numbers, so you just feel that as a human being, it's really a good feeling, at least for me. And Henry Ford some time ago said that a business that thinks only about money is a poor business. And the question I would like to ask you today is, what about your business and your organizations? Would you like to be poor? Or would you like to be rich? Thank you.
All right, question maybe a little bit an open-ended. You talked mostly about your journey of becoming a Scrum Master. Any thoughts what happens after? How is it as an ongoing process? How it is being a Scrum Master in established Scrum team? Are there differences?
Well, I would say this is never-ending process. Well, probably you can grow teams up to some maximum, but I tend to agree to the previous talks today. We are not robots, we are people. And we are very complex creatures, and I think for me, my next step would be become an agile coach, but this is something from somebody maybe who has more experience. I would like to gain that for sure. And I think learning new techniques, thinking about this more and developing more and growing, and not only one team, but going viral, so to say, in organization.
I have a question. Do you have only a role of Scrum Master at the project, or at the same time as a team lead or a programmer or something else?
No, I am currently 100% Scrum Master. I have my own team. I help other teams, and also not only about this project, but also I help, and we have other projects as well. So I sort of became a first Scrum Master, with kind of official name.
All right, one more question.
What was the time frame of those releases? How long?
Roughly 2 years. Yes, it was. No, for the whole 3. No, it's the time frame is 3. Yeah, it might sound weird, it might sound long, but we started actually from there were actually just teams designed in the beginning. There were no, of course I don't know how it would have been if we wouldn't try the Scrum in this project. It's hard to say now because we tried one way and this is what we have. But I think it might be done in a maybe more classical way. So, but this is assumption, it's a guess.